Hey, Crystal, I need some advice here.
What's up, George?
So, there's this like redheaded girl in class, and I kind of got a crush on her, but
Ooh.
but yeah, I don't know, how to ask her out. I don't even know if she knows my name, but yeah.
Oh,
You
come
got any
on.
advice?
Um, I would personally just be natural and just go straight forward.
Go
Just
straight forward
and
and
ask her out.
how I do that?
I don't know. For my personal advice, I think you should just go straight forward and say, "Hi, my name is George," and give
Mm-hmm.
her an
Hold on,
appearance.
I'm gonna write this down.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and next step is if you are free, though you always have to check if she's either married or if she's a lesbian
Mm-hmm.
or if she is single.
Okay.
So number three is what you're looking for.
Okay, number three.
Mm. So if she's single, just say, "Hey, how about we go out for a cup of coffee or something?"
Mm-hmm.
And
Coffee.
and yeah, that's how you get her.
So yeah, what if she doesn't like coffee though? I mean, what else could we do on a date?
Mm.
Assuming she will say yes. Yeah, what's fun to do on a date anyway?
Fun to go do on a date is just the fact that you're being with her and just try to get her to know her more.
Wait 1 sec. Do I need to pay for this or?
I don't think you should pay on the first date. I think sometimes that can be offensive to women.
Oh, that's great because I'm totally broke.
I think you should just ask her casually, not like a date. Just say, "Hey, I would like to know you a little bit more," and just go out for a small little drink. Like go to that new cafe that's open. Like
Hmm.
a lot of girls think that place is so cute. I think you should take her there.
But I think cafes are boring.
Cafes are boring. Men! Women don't think so.
Oh,
This is the point. Write it
okay.
down.
All right.
Hey, George, actually, it's
Hmm.
really, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned relationships because I'm actually having a problem with Joe.
Is that the guy with the curly hair?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
He's really nice and everything,
Hmm.
but like, I really don't think it's working out.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, he's really narrow-minded and I'm really different. He's nice and everything. He's
Hmm.
kind and sweet and it's just not for me. Like, we're totally
Oh,
different people.
I see. So what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
I think I have to rip the band-aid and I think I'm just gonna send him an email or something.
An email? But you've
Yeah.
been dating for a while now, and
Y-
you like him, right?
Yeah, like we're so sweet together, but it's just
I mean,
I
isn't it?
don't see a future.
But isn't an email just a little too cold, and he might
Yeah.
tell other people about it? I mean, rumors spreading and whatnot.
Ah. Uh-huh. Okay, then what do you think I should do? How should I do it?
Well, you should probably just, meet him face to face and,
Oh, face to
you know,
face. Okay. Where should I meet him? Like, do you think I should just invite him over to my place?
nah, you should probably do it in public where,
Oh, good. I think
I
that's
don't know,
better.
maybe that cafe.
Oh, that cafe, yeah.
Well, while I'm having my date, you could be breaking up with your boyfriend. It'll be great.
You're so mean.
I'm sorry, that was uncalled for.
I don't know what to say. What do you think would hurt him less?
I gotta say, honesty would be the best policy.
Honesty. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm gonna say. Joe, you're great,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not meant to be.
I
How's
see.
that?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Okay, so okay. Okay, I'm done. I think I'll meet him at the cafe, and okay, things will work from then. I'll improvise.
Great.
So, Monica, you do Tai Chi.
Ah, yes, I've just joined a Tai Chi club.
What made you join the Tai Chi club?
Well, I wanted to do something that was a lot different to what I usually do, which is high-impact sports like basketball and tennis.
So you wanted to do something that was slower.
Yeah, well, I don't usually enjoy exercise that is quite slow, such as yoga, but I decided to join this club and I'm really enjoying it.
So what exactly is Tai Chi? What do you do in Tai Chi?
Well, there are different types of Tai Chi. There's the original Tai Chi, which involves quite quick, fast movements. And then there's a slower form of Tai Chi, which is quite popular in Japan. I think it's called Mr. Young Tai Chi. And that involves very slow, pronounced movements. And that's the Tai Chi that I'm doing.
How do you feel like after you do Tai Chi? Do you feel tired? Do you feel energetic?
After I've done Tai Chi, I feel quite energetic, actually. I don't really feel tired because I haven't had a really hard workout. But I feel that my mind is very relaxed and very focused, and I'm very motivated to do whatever I need to do for the rest of the day.
Now, you actually are a tennis coach, so you teach sports. Would you recommend Tai Chi for other athletes?
Yeah, I do recommend Tai Chi for other athletes. It's quite difficult to know exactly how you would benefit from Tai Chi and how it can directly relate to a specific sport. But I've heard that it works on your energy levels and focuses your mind so that everything's in balance. And I think that can help any kind of sport because even in a sport like tennis, it's important to have balance when you're hitting the ball, when you're volleying, when you're getting ready for a smash. It actually involves having balance in terms of where your center of gravity is. So yeah, the concepts are similar.
So, Monica, a minute ago we were talking about Tai Chi and about how it helps longevity, helps you live a long life. One time when I was in Bangkok, I met a guy, and he was doing Tai Chi, and he looked really young, but he said the secret to his old life, he said the secret to looking young was Tai Chi and cold showers. He took a cold shower every morning.
Wow.
Could you do that?
No, I don't think I could actually.
Yeah, I actually tried it for a while. I tried it for about a week, and I did feel so energized. And it was easy in Bangkok because it's really warm, but I couldn't keep it up, especially now that I'm in the cold climate. There's no way.
Yeah, I remember when I was young, my mother used to teach me to splash my face with cold water in the morning because she believed that helped wake you up. And I remember as a child not liking that at all because I just found it too cold.
Right.
So I preferred to splash my face with warm water.
So, have you heard of any other secrets to having a long life?
Yeah, I've heard of quite a few different secrets to having a long life. I guess one secret that a lot of different cultural groups seem to share is diet. If you take the Japanese as an example, and Japanese people do have a long life expectancy in comparison to other people from other countries. I think the Japanese eat a diet that's quite low in fat and reasonably low in salt as well. And I think their fluid intake is quite healthy because they drink a lot of green tea, which has antioxidants in it, and they drink a lot of miso soup, which has a lot of vegetables in it and is made from fermented barley. So I think that's very healthy.
I've also heard that people in the Mediterranean, they also often have a long lifespan in certain regions, and maybe the combination of wine, just a little wine, not too much, but wine and olive oil, and then a lot of fish, seafood, is also maybe beneficial to a long life.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard French people, for example, live a long life, and that has often been said due to a glass of red wine a day. And I know people think differently about alcohol and its effect on the body these days.
Right.
Yeah, because alcohol used to be considered quite a bad thing and discouraged in all forms, but now people tend to think that a glass a day is actually quite beneficial to your health.
I've also actually heard that that people that laugh a lot tend to live longer.
Yeah, I've heard that too, actually, because laughing releases natural endorphins, and I think that helps you physiologically, and also I think psychologically you're happier if you're laughing. So, yeah, I think that long life is related to how you're feeling, and I think a lot of it's psychological as well as physical, for example, how much you're eating and what types of food you're eating.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of in the same boat, but I just don't know if I laugh that much. Maybe I'm in trouble. So, Monica, you are from New Zealand.
Yes, that's right.
So for people going to New Zealand, what would you recommend? What are 3 or 4 places that you must see in New Zealand?
Oh, okay. 3 or 4 places you must see. Well, depends what you're looking for, really. I think a lot of people that come to New Zealand enjoy an outdoor lifestyle, so there's lots of outdoor activities and places you can go to enjoy in New Zealand. Personally, I find the South Island of New Zealand very scenic in comparison to the North Island. So for me, a must-do is the west coast of the South Island. It's very pretty.
The West Coast.
Yeah. In particular, there's 2 glaciers, Franz Joseph and Fox glaciers, which are very stunning to look at. And you can either have a look at them by foot, or you can pay for a helicopter ride that takes you up and shows you an aerial view of them.
Now, do people ever walk across the glaciers?
There are guides that can walk you across. Yeah, I haven't done it personally, but it is possible.
So what else would you recommend for New Zealand? What other places should people see?
I think if you want to see, let me think, rural New Zealand, it's quite a nice idea to drive the length of the country, and then you can see the interesting farming that has taken place, in particular in the South Island, the lower part of the South Island, and a lot of the North Island as well. There's a lot of sheep in New Zealand, and there's a lot of cattle as well. So I think it is always interesting to go for a drive and to see that firsthand.
So you just start up in Auckland in the north and drive all the way down south?
Yeah, well, there's many ways you can do it, but I recommend one way of doing it is to arrive in Auckland and to have an experience of a big city, well, a big city for New Zealand, and then drive down the centre of the North Island and maybe have a farming experience somewhere. There's a lot of farm stay opportunities available for tourists who come to New Zealand. So depending on how you do it, you might want to stay 2 or 3 days with a family and experience a farming lifestyle. So that's, one thing I'd recommend. And another is to maybe go to a city like Rotorua, which is really in the centre of the North Island, and experience Māori culture. There's a Māori village there near the Whakarewarewa forest, which hosts a lot of tourists, and you get to experience Māori waiata, which is Māori songs, and you get to see the hot springs in New Zealand and thermal mud pools. So yeah, Rotorua is a nice city to go and visit, and then work your way down to the capital of New Zealand, which is Wellington. And I think if you want to experience the cafe lifestyle of New Zealand, that's a good place to go.
Monica, you mentioned a farm homestay in New Zealand. Have you ever actually lived on a farm?
I haven't lived on a farm as such, but I've visited family friends who have lived on farms.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, I remember loving visiting my family friends on farms. Yeah, especially riding horses. I loved riding horses when I was young.
So are you good? Are you an equestrian professional?
I wouldn't say that. I do remember one time my mother always seems to tell people this story about when I was young, and we were at her friend's farm. I was on a horse, and the horse took off, and I was only about, I think, 10 at the time, and I was hanging off the side of this horse, and my mother was really worried for me.
Yeah.
And then when the horse finally stopped, she, she came running up and asked me if I was okay and things. And apparently I said to her, "Oh, it's okay. I wanted it to go fast."
That's cute. You're lucky you didn't get hurt, though.
Yeah, well, I guess I just didn't sense the danger.
Actually, I kind of grew up on a farm. My grandfather had a ranch growing up, so I spent every summer on his ranch. So I have quite the, I don't know, I guess I have a lot of experience.
Oh,
on a farm.
okay.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I remember when I was young, I thought the life on a farm was just the best. I mean, I had it so good, and I loved everything about living on a farm, and I thought when I was going to get older, I would want to be on a farm, but now that I'm older, I couldn't imagine doing it ever again.
Oh, what can't you imagine doing?
I don't know. I guess I just couldn't imagine all that work. And I think I'm just so addicted to city life or suburban life, and living in a house and just, doing work on computers and things like that. I couldn't go back to that lifestyle. But when I was young, I have to admit, I enjoyed it a lot. So how about you? Could you see yourself moving and living on a farm?
Well, yeah, I think my thoughts are similar to yours in that I'm very used to being inside using a computer, and I'm used to a very different lifestyle to one that involves being on a farm. But yeah, I've never had a long period of time where I've stayed on a farm like you, so yeah, maybe it's a bit different for me.
So, Shirley, we were talking about childhood memories, and you're from Scotland. There's anything from your childhood that you can tell us?
I know I've got a really funny story, actually. Maybe I was about 10 years old or something, and we used to have this little kind of shack in the countryside that we were dragged to every weekend, and away from civilization, and no running water, no electricity. So we kids had to make our own fun. I've got my brothers, myself, and a couple of cousins. We would always go there at weekends or school holidays or something. And, one of the highlights of our weekends was to go to the Sunday school Sunday morning church service. And one of the reasons this was attractive to the kids was because they bribed us to go there by giving us sweets when we got there. So it was great. So we always went anyway. It was a church service for about an hour and singing hymns and stuff like that. Anyway, this one Sunday we arrived early, about half an hour early. There was nobody there. The church wasn't open yet. So it was, as most people know, it rains a lot in Scotland. So on that rainy day, we all were wearing our cagoules, which is a kind of a rain jacket with a big pocket in the front. And while we were waiting for everybody else to arrive, we started just kind of playing around in the trees. There was a little river nearby. And it was at the time of year when the tadpoles were turning into baby frogs. So we got this crazy idea to collect all these. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of frogs were around. So we all got a big handful of baby frogs, put them in this big pocket of our cagoule, went off into church. So there we are. We're kind of in the middle of the crowd. You know, we weren't at the front or the back, kind of in the middle. And everybody's standing up singing the hymns and really getting into, you know, the church singing and stuff like that. And then we decided that we would get the frogs out. So each of us kids one at a time, kind of crouched down as if we were tying our shoelace and let all these frogs out of our pockets. So these tiny little frogs started jumping all over the church. And there's all these ladies in their Sunday best and started squealing and screaming, and the minister didn't know what was going on, and he's trying to keep everybody calm, and we're just singing along with the hymn. You know, we're really innocent, and they had no idea because they didn't see us do it, so they had no idea what had happened. And yeah, I mean, we got away with it. We didn't get told off because we didn't get caught. And yeah, after the church service, you know, we had such a laugh after the church service. And yeah, that's one of my greatest childhood memories, getting up to mischief with my brothers.
So, Nick, let's talk about touching and holding hands and physical touch with your significant other. Do you and your partner hold hands when you go out in the street?
We hold hands all the time. Initially, when we first went out, holding hands was the first thing we did. They've progressively moved on from there to kissing, but holding hands was certainly the first thing we did in our relationship.
Do you remember when you first tried to hold her hand, or did she try to hold your hand first?
I made the first move. We were sitting on the couch watching a movie, and I was getting a bit nervous, and I couldn't quite concentrate on the movie. So I moved my hand over to hers, and she reciprocated and moved on from there. So,
you know, that's funny that you bring that up, because one of the most common moves that is made fun of in movies as well is when the guy takes a big yawn, a fake yawn, and he opens his arms wide and places it around the girl's shoulder and thus embraces her. But he had to do it because he yawned.
In my experience, like my first hug was like that as well. So it was just a bit of an excuse I was reaching for something, and then suddenly my hand went around, and she didn't mind, so
that's
it was a
very
good sign.
Good. And what about kissing? Do you kiss a lot in public, in the streets?
Rarely in public, because we find it makes other people uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's true. I find that when I see couples kissing or making out in public, I usually think to myself, why don't you get a room?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see that. You just want to be having a conversation with them, or you don't want them to be constantly distracted. You've lived in 3 different parts of the world, so is there any difference between each part in terms of physical contact?
Yeah, I have lived in Hong Kong, Guam, and the U.S. Hong Kong is in Asia. Guam is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. and the U.S. is American culture. So in Hong Kong, I think most people would not touch each other, just give each other a little bow. I find that a bow is very common in Asia. If you're very good friends, you wouldn't really hug. Hugging, I think, is a very American thing to do. I think you would just touch each other on the shoulder or give each other a side embrace, a mini hug. In Guam, you would definitely greet your friends and family with a kiss on the cheek. A handshake is much too formal for island culture because island culture is so relaxed and laid back. You would only do a handshake with business partners or in a really formal setting. But usually a kiss on the cheek is what you receive and give when you see your family and friends. In the U.S., hugging is most common, I think, for friends and family. But if you're not friends and family, a handshake would probably be the most common.
Is the handshakes always the same, or is there different styles of handshake?
From what I've observed, Guam has American culture, so Guam handshakes and U.S. handshakes are the same. I think in Hong Kong, it's got a British background, so that's also very similar. I don't see any difference with the handshake.
So what about young people? Is there a different way they interact physically with each other?
Yes, definitely. In Guam, I always see people do a fist bump for close buddies of theirs. Girls would definitely hug and give each other a kiss. In Hong Kong, I don't see the fist bump often. I don't think I've ever seen it at all, actually. But for close friends, I think a side embrace or a semi-embrace would happen, but mostly just some form of touch or acknowledgement of the other person. I think it's also very common for people of the same sex to hold hands in Asia and just be friends. Woman and woman hold each other's hands if they are very, very, very good friends. And it's apparently very normal. I don't know about a guy holding another guy's hand, but if a woman and a woman hold each other's hands, it does not signal that they are together as a couple. It might just signal that they are very, very good friends or sisters.
In Australia, that would be very strange.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it? Even in America and Guam.
Hi, Jake. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Shirley?
Not too bad, thanks. I thought we might talk about folk heroes today.
Sure.
I don't really know much about American folk heroes. Are there any that you have a favorite or?
Well, actually, my hometown in the United States happens to be known as one of the hometowns for Paul Bunyan.
I think I've heard of that name, but I don't know anything about him.
Paul Bunyan was a lumberjack. Like, he would cut down trees, and he was supposedly a very giant man. He was huge. And I don't know if he actually ever lived in some time in the past, but maybe he was just a very large man, but somehow the stories have been passed down to say that he was as large as a house or as large as a skyscraper, or it completely depends on who you ask.
Wow. So, not sure whether he's a mythical character or a real character.
No one really knows for sure.
What did he do?
Well, some people say that he took his axe and he dragged it behind his back across the United States, and he made the Mississippi River.
So it's a kind of story to explain why something exists.
That's part of it. And also, he had a pet, too. His pet is very famous.
And what kind of pet?
His pet was an ox, but it wasn't just an ordinary ox. It was a blue ox, and it was also oversized to fit with his size.
What did his pet do?
Well, his pet, I think, would just carry lumber for him or something.
So, about when did this story start? I mean, when did Paul Bunyan become famous, or when did people know about that story?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but like your country, the United States is a very young country and has a very young history since the European settlers came there. So I think it's maybe from a couple hundred years ago, maybe at the most.
Okay.
Lindsay, we're both teachers, and sometimes our students go off to camp over the summer break. Did you ever go to camp when you were younger?
I did go to camp. The camp I went to was called Pilgrim Pines.
Oh, what was that like?
It was great. It was 1 week away from my family, and each person got to take care of an animal. Some people took care of horses, some people took care of sheep, but I got the lucky task of taking care of Xanadu the llama.
What was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. When I was a kid, my favorite animal was a llama, so that's why we looked into this camp to begin with. And I had to brush it, and I had to feed the llama. And it was such a sweet llama that I really fell in love with it. And every day I'd wake up, feed the llama, and brush it. And then in the afternoon, I'd also come and visit the llama. Xanadu was his name. But a couple of times he got mad. I can't remember why actually he was upset. But when llamas are mad, do you know what they do?
I don't know.
They actually spit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you have to and then if they spit at you, that means they're really upset, and they can be dangerous. I mean, I was only 10 at the time, so the llama was a lot bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And one time it spit at me, and the spit got stuck in my hair, and it was this really thick, gross, mucusy spit.
Oh.
And that really struck an image in my mind. I can't ever kind of forget that llama spitting at me. And then after, I think, for a day, I was afraid of the llama. And then my camp counselor, who was in charge of all the children, had a talk with me and told me how, sometimes llamas get mad just like people get mad, mm-hmm. and I need to forgive the llama. And I did. And then the next day I went and fed the llama and brushed the llama, and everything was back to normal. But it was a really good experience to learn how to take care of a pet. Mm-hmm. And a good experience to be away from my family for the first time.
So I guess there were other kids at the camp too. Did you guys all eat together?
Yeah, we had a mess hall, they called it, which is basically cafeteria. The food was disgusting. I remember losing a lot of weight when I came home, mm-hmm. and my mom would send me packages of chocolate and cookies, and I would eat it all. But yes, we all ate together this gross cafeteria slob food, like Sloppy Joe for lunch, right. Or just imagine turkey and gravy for dinner, but the turkey was kind of a blue color or something. Mm-hmm. Everything was just a little bit gross. But and at one time we had a food fight, and that was absolutely amazing. This one kid got upset. The other kid threw some mashed potatoes, and the next thing you know, turkey's flying, mashed potatoes flying, everyone's getting involved, and that was really fun. So we're talking about camp today. Did you ever go to camp when you were a kid?
I did. I usually went to Cub Camp, like Boy Scouts.
Okay. Was it during the summer?
Yeah, it'd always be in the summer.
And was it for a week or a month or?
I can't recall. It probably was about a week.
About a week? What'd you do at Cub Camp?
We do different things. One thing I remember is archery.
Archery?
Yeah, like bows and arrows. So we would have a target, and we would practice trying to hit the target, and I was really bad at it. I remember always, it's quite difficult, and I would hurt my arm with the bow. But then after we were trying to get the target, I remember we did distance as well, and I was actually pretty good at that. I figured out how to get a long shot away, and I think I might be lying, but I think I maybe got the longest shot than anyone else.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Okay, besides archery, were there other games you played or sports you did?
Yeah, well, we would learn how to canoe, and we'd swim, and we'd go on hikes. We'd learn how to navigate through the forest with a compass,
Okay.
things like that.
Did you learn how to start fire without matches?
We did, yeah. We would use 2 sticks, rub them together, start a fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you guys do at night? Would you play games or have campfires?
Yeah, we'd always have a campfire at night. We'd sing some songs like Kumbaya, and put on some skits and tell ghost stories. But my favorite thing to do at the campfire was roast marshmallows.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, I'd spend hours trying to find the perfect stick to carve and roast marshmallows on. And sometimes we'd even make the chocolate s'mores with the marshmallows.
Oh, yummy. So that food was good. How was the other food?
I don't have any memories of it being good, so I don't think it was very good. We would all eat together in a mess hall, much like yourself. And actually, I remember getting really sick one time, and my parents had to come and pick me up, and I think I got a bit of food poisoning.
Oh, wow. From the food in Cub Scout camp?
Yeah,
wow.
Right.
Okay. Final question. So you were away from your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard or easy?
Oh, it was easy. I remember feeling a little freer and more independent, away from my parents. Less rules, less regulations.
You weren't homesick at all?
No, I never did get homesick. Even when my parents came to pick me up that time when I was sick, I really didn't want to go home.
Oh, too bad you got food poisoning.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Warren.
So, Lindsay, what about your dreams? What did you want to be when you were 10 years old?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I wasn't very realistic, but I knew I wanted to be very powerful. So I thought the dream job would be Wonder Woman. She can fly anywhere. She has the powers to do good and to help everyone. And she's very badass. So I wanted to be just like her. Unfortunately, it didn't come true, as I'm not Wonder Woman right now.
No, I can see that, but it seems like you had a good imagination as a kid. But I guess that probably changed as you got older. What about when you were 15?
Well, then when I was 15, I still wanted to be very powerful and very strong, but I had a more realistic idea of what I wanted to be. But I still didn't know a lot about the world, so I just wanted to be a very powerful businesswoman. I had no idea what kind of business, and I had no idea what that actually meant, but I wanted to wear an all-black suit and have a briefcase and go to work in a nice office and drive a nice car and do something that was very powerful. But I had no idea really what a powerful businesswoman does.
Oh, well, that seems like a pretty good dream for a 15-year-old. But I guess you probably had a better idea when you were 20, so what about then?
So when I was 20, then I still wanted to be powerful and strong. I guess you can see the common theme here. But then I had even more realistic idea of actual real professions. So at that time, I was quite social. I really enjoyed going to parties. And I was living in New York at the time. So I thought the perfect job for me would be a public relations specialist. I thought I could be one of those people that plans parties or handles the PR, the publicity for celebrities. I had a dream of maybe working for Madonna or working for a famous TV show and handling all their publicity representation.
Oh, well, that's great. It seems like you had a better idea by the time you were 20. But I guess you probably have some dreams now even. So what kind of dreams do you have now?
Well, then, when I was 20, I was quite egotistical. I just only thought about myself and how I could have more money and be more powerful. But then something changed when I started traveling and seeing the world, where I decided that I'd rather have a job that does something good for the world and gives back to the community and to the people. So now I'm a teacher, and I really enjoy that, the idea of making a difference in people's lives. And in the future, maybe when I get older, I hope to start an animal shelter so that when animals are left on the street or abandoned, they can come to my shelter and I can provide a happy home for them.
Wow, that's a great vision for the future.
Thanks. Hey, Warren.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I thought today we could talk about childhood dreams. When you were 10 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Right. Well, actually, it's a little embarrassing. I wanted to be a truck driver. I thought it would be really neat because you can just travel around everywhere and see different places all the time, and you're always on the move. But, you know, I didn't become a truck driver.
No, you didn't become a truck driver. Why is that? When did your dream change?
Well, probably when I was around 15, I thought it would be a lot cooler to be a rock star.
Rock star?
Yeah, rock star. I really liked electric guitar at the time, and a lot of my friends were into music as well. So I didn't actually start a band, but I played with a lot of different people, and sometimes I would play with some bands, but I never really stuck to it. But I did keep playing guitar, and I ended up getting pretty good.
What kind of rock star did you want to be? Did you want to be like a heavy metal rock star or a grunge rock star?
Well, I guess versatile would be the word. I like playing a lot of heavy stuff and maybe some folk music as well. So kind of eclectic.
So maybe a hippie rock star?
Yeah, maybe a hippie.
So then when you were 20, did you still want to be a rock star?
No, I didn't, but I still played guitar then. I actually wanted to be a classical guitarist by then.
Okay. What is classical guitar?
Well, it's funny you say that because it's not just classical music. Classical guitar is for one thing, it's a type of guitar. It has nylon strings, not the steel strings like you see on a folk guitar.
Okay.
And there's different styles you can play on it, like Spanish music or flamenco, South American music, some classical music like Beethoven and things like that, or Baroque music like
Does it
Bach.
have a singer with it? Or?
Sometimes there are singers. Usually it's solo, but you can play some chamber music with other instruments as well. And yeah, I played some pieces with vocalists, but it wouldn't be pop music.
And so now you're older. Did your dream come true? Did you become a classical guitarist?
I did, but I actually decided to change my dream after I became a classical guitarist.
So what's your dream now?
Well, my dream now is to become a university professor.
Oh, and are you making steps to achieve that dream?
I am actually. I'm working at a university now, not as a professor, as a part-time lecturer, but I'm taking some courses and studying hard and hoping that my future will allow me to become a professor.
Okay. Well, unless you change your dream again, I bet you'll achieve your dream, Warren. So good luck.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So, Shafani, you were saying that you actually worked in radio from an early age. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's right. Well, I worked on the radio at the age of 12. What basically happened was that I used to call up the radio station quite a lot, answer questions and quizzes and all that sort of stuff. And one of the announcers thought my voice was nice and so wanted me to come and work for him. Without realizing that I was 12 years old, he called me in and had me on.
So, were you a little scared? I mean, you're only 12.
It was very daunting at first. So the first couple of days, I had no idea what was going on. There was a massive microphone in front of my face, and I was told to make this show fun and interesting. So yes, it was very daunting.
Did you have any prep, or did they just stick you in front of the mic and have you react?
No, actually, there was no prompt. There were no prompts. It was all up to me. I had to come up with stuff on the spot, which was quite easy, really, because the topics were simple. It was mainly about music.
Oh, like teen stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Or anything that people called up and talked about. It's very, very childish stuff, but mainly geared at teenagers.
How did your parents feel about it?
Very proud of me, obviously. At the age of 12, their daughter was a DJ. What could be better than that? So they really enjoyed it. I remember they would listen to it every single time, record it, and then listen to it over and over again when they could.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, were you like a little celebrity at your school?
I ended up becoming one. A lot of my friends also did the same, recording of my voice on the radio. It was a big thing to be a radio person and being only 12. So my friends thought it was absolutely fantastic, and they would take it to school and quite often play it around. So yeah, I ended up getting a celebrity status.
So when you were young and you were this DJ, did you envision yourself of being a DJ for a long time?
Actually, no, I hadn't. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun, but it was a hobby. It was never something I wanted to do as a profession.
So in the future, if you had a child and they wanted to do this, would you encourage them to do it?
I absolutely would, because if they enjoy it, and they enjoy it so much that they want to take it up as a career, why not? With me, it was a hobby.
Now, what about podcasts? Like, would you encourage young people to maybe have their own podcast?
I think that's a fantastic idea. I think it's really good to be able to express yourself, and through podcasts, they can do exactly that.
Now, you were saying that you worked in radio and at a young age, but then you went back to it much later in life. Can you talk about that?
I did. Well, when I was 21 years old, I got headhunted to do a show. This show was basically a freelance show that had to be done in 3 different languages at the same time. So the range of audience was quite broad. And this show was basically anything I wanted to talk about. So quite often I talked about music, current events, anything political, anything non-political, anything that came to my mind I would talk about.
So what were the 3 languages of the show?
Hindi, Punjabi, and obviously English.
Okay, and what was the city? Where was this at?
This was in Auckland.
Okay, so this was one of these kind of blended radio shows where you slip from one language to another?
It was. Well, the show was catering for everybody, basically. So the criteria was speak in a way that makes people understand, even if they don't speak the language. So the trick was to say 1/3 in English, the rest in Hindi and Punjabi, where I could, and somehow it just made sense.
How do you go about doing that? Like, did you plan it, or does it just kind of roll off your tongue?
For me, I think it's quite natural because my parents speak in Hindi and Punjabi, and so for me, English is quite natural, and so are the other 2 languages. Blending them together was never a problem.
Now, when you hear languages being switched back and forth like that, are you conscious of it, or sometimes are you not even conscious that you're speaking one language or the other?
I don't think I'm conscious of it at all. It just happens. It's a slip of tongue. All 3 languages I'm quite fluent in. So for me, to switch from one to the other is just a natural course of a day.
So since you have experience in the music industry, what do you think makes a good DJ?
A good DJ is one that's neutral when they need to be, and one who can switch sides very quickly and make things controversial from being neutral. What I mean by that is if you have an interesting topic and a caller calls you up and is very positive about it, a good DJ would be able to flip it over very quickly and say something that would make it controversial.
Now, do you think there's a certain balance, like how much you should talk and how much music should be played? And
there is absolutely a balance. Quite often people listen to radio for music. So you need to make sure that your music ratio is more than how much you talk. But the amount you talk has to be interesting, but quite limited.
All right, thanks a lot.
No, you're welcome.
Hey Diego, I'm looking for a gym to join. I hear you've joined a gym. How is it?
It's really good. I really like it. The name of the gym is Total Gym, and it has everything I really need. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it have?
Well, it has a weight room, and you
Mhm.
can do free weights there. It also has a pool, because I like swimming.
Okay, yeah.
And it's very good for you too. And it has a sauna. And there's some random classes over there too.
So what about a relaxation room? I always like to get a massage after I've done the gym.
I'm not really sure, but I think they might have one because they do yoga there. So.
Okay, all right. So I'll check that one out. And you said they had classes. What type?
Well, as I mentioned, they have yoga, and I've took yoga like 3 or 4 times. The instructor is really, really good.
Yep.
And they have kickboxing because my friend's doing that, and he said it's really intense.
What about spin classes? I do like to ride on the bike.
I've seen some bikes around, so I'm pretty sure they have it too.
Okay. And how much does it all cost?
It costs, well, I'm paying a monthly fee, so it's like $40 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can get a discount if you pay with your credit card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So otherwise you just pay with a credit card, or can you pay cash?
You can pay cash every month. That's what I'm doing. And if I introduce you to the gym, we get free coupons for coffee.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. All right. I'll come and have a look. When are you going next?
I'm going actually at 5 p.m. today.
Okay, I'll come with you.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Make sure you bring a bath towel and your sports shoes, your indoor shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
I shall do.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Talking about kids in school, what do you think about failure? Like, it seems like we're moving to where we're not allowed to tell kids that they're not doing well, that everybody has to be a winner. You know, everybody gets a good grade. What do you think about that, especially as a teacher
and
a parent?
I think I read something recently that the chastising a student, telling them they did bad, has no motivational value whatsoever, but praise does. So definitely I think it's important to always praise. If you have a really bad student and you can't find anything to praise them on, then I don't know what the answer is, really. But I'm sure you can always find something to praise someone on. So I think it's important to focus on the positives all the time.
See, actually, I kind of disagree.
Do you?
Yeah. I think that that your score is, or your progress is absolute. Like, either you pass or you fail, either you get high marks or low marks, but that's the motivation. Like, if you don't do well, then you want to try harder. Like if you're a fat kid and you don't want to be fat, then you're motivated to lose weight. Or if you aren't a star on the baseball team, you need to practice harder so you move up. But if you tell kids that they're doing great when actually they're not exceptional, that maybe that actually does harm.
Okay, maybe I misexplained that. I don't mean I don't mean say they're doing well when they're not doing well. But what I mean is focus more on the successes than the failures.
Oh, I see. Like confidence building.
Yeah. I guess that's what I mean more. But I guess we're talking about motivation rather than an end result. Like, of course, yeah, you're going to fail some things. I don't know. I never failed that many things at school, and later on in life, when I did encounter failure, I took it pretty bad. So perhaps it would have been healthier for me to have failed everything. I don't know.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Like, when you fail or you do bad, I think that maybe that's the eye-opening moment you need to see. Like, you need to see the truth rather than just tell somebody that they're doing well when actually maybe they're not, or that they're exceptional and talented when maybe they're not.
When they're not, that's true. Yeah, there was another thing that I read as well about praising children for their intelligence. You should never tell a child they're smart because they get a false image of what intelligence is. You should always praise effort as opposed to some sort of innate, what we believe to be like an innate quality that you can never have if you don't have it. So telling a child, yeah, you're really smart, when the child faces a problem that requires them to apply themselves and maybe fail, they're afraid. Because then they may think, oh, no, I'm not intelligent after all. So it should always be about praising effort, and actually the result is not so important.
So when we're talking about ideal hotels, what do you think is an ideal hotel for you?
That's a tough question, but when I choose a hotel, I would look at where the hotel's located
Right.
and also the food.
Right.
So as long as the hotel is surrounded by nature, preferably on the water,
Okay.
and maybe some mountains in the back, and if the food, the breakfast, and dinner, and all the food that they have is amazing, I'm good. I'm set.
Now, what about facilities? I mean, hotels have various facilities, whether it's gyms or movie rooms or computer rooms that allow you to do, internet and various things. Some hotels have pools. Would those be things that you would want in your ideal hotel?
Oh yeah, gym I'm not so interested in because I can, play sports outside when I'm surrounded by nature. Why would I be, inside working out?
Right.
But in terms of swimming pool, I'm actually interested because when I was looking at pictures, I don't know which country it was, but there's an outdoor pool, like infinity pool, that looked like it was connected to the ocean, and it was just so beautiful. And before I thought, why would I swim in the swimming pool when I have an ocean in front of me? But if there is an swimming pool like that at the hotel, I'll definitely stay there for a long time.
Right. Now, what about spa facilities? Massages and different spa treatments. Is that something that would interest you in your ideal hotel?
Oh, yes, yes, for sure. I am so into massages, and yeah, I would definitely want massage room and spas in the hotel. That would be perfect.
Oh, okay. And there are some really expensive hotels that offer the service of a personal butler. Do you think that would be necessary for you in your ideal hotel, or would that be one amenity that you could do without?
I think it depends, but I don't really. When I'm staying at the hotel, I would usually, want to be alone and want to enjoy my time with my family or my husband or myself, that I actually don't want anyone following me everywhere I go. So, to a lot of people might be, that's a good idea. It's a nice treat to have, but I am personally not up for that.
Okay, well, sounds like a pretty nice hotel you've just described.